very excited for this matchup. These are the top 2 decks that I wanted to play had I been playing in this World Championship. So I am incredibly excited to be commentating this, and I just hope I don't screw up because there's a lot of pressure on me. I've been playing these 2 decks pretty much.
Well, I think you'll do fine, and we're going to take it over to Nick McCord now to get this match underway.
Thanks so much, Dylan. As you said, we've got another epic marathon match coming at you, and each of these competitors has to be thinking, I'm facing my greatest adversary. But we'll get the action started right away. Ladies and gentlemen, from Australia, Kaiwen Cabbage! Challenger from the nation of France, Clement Lamberton. Trainers, you may begin.
And it looks like we're back and going to be finally able to start this match. Now, I believe that Kaiwen is going to be the player that's going to be piloting the Rayquaza Electric deck. Or, I'm sorry,
no, Kaiwen's
the Plasma deck.
He's got Plasma, and he's on the left side.
Yes, and Clement is going to be piloting the Rayquaza Electric deck.
Now, Kaiwen ended up actually winning the Australian National Championships this year.
Yeah, he defeated pretty much every opponent that he could, obviously,
right.
and became the national champion, while Clement didn't do too shabby himself. He took 3rd place at his national championships.
Right, so both of these have had very recent big wins in their respective countries.
You know what I also find really interesting is their championship point total. Clement has 747 championship points, which is incredible.
But Kaiwen's here with 807.
Exactly.
Even bigger number.
Both of these players have just been dominating tournaments all year long, and this is actually Clement's 2nd World Championships in a row. Last year he did fairly well in 52nd place.
All right, so we've got the opening Pokemon here. We've got Keldeo EX, and we're going to bring up and let's take a look at Rayquaza EX. That's a card we have not seen played on the final stage yet.
Yeah, now Rayquaza EX really only belongs in one deck, and that is the current deck, Rayquaza Electric, affectionately known as Ray Eels by players. Now Rayquaza EX has an attack that's pretty much, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just unrivaled, I guess, in the damage potential. Dragon Burst can deal up to honestly a near infinite number, but the beauty of it is that if you discard either 3 basic lightning or 3 fire energies, you'll be able to deal 180 damage, which should knock out pretty much every Pokemon in the game.
Right, it's almost up there with Black Ballista in terms of damage potential for discarding 3 energy, but if you ever need it, you can kick it up to that 4th one if someone's got an Eviolite or some kind of defensive ability there.
Exactly. Now you do need the electrics, which serve as kind of your energy manipulation. If you get multiple electrics out, you'll be able to actually attach from your discard pile lightning energy onto any of your benched Pokemon. So if you get, say, 3 electrics in play, you'll be able to attach 3 lightning energies onto a benched Rayquaza, have a fire ready, obviously, and there you go. That's 180 damage as long as you can retreat your active Pokemon.
Right. So Dragon Burst, they might discard all their basic electric energy, and you're going to be, well, how are they going to do it again next turn? And exactly what you're saying with electric. Let's take a look at Electric, a card that's had an impact on the game since it first appeared.
Yes. Now Electric has been around for, I believe, 2 years, maybe even 3 years now. It's been around for a very long time, and it really made a splash immediately after it came out, and it hasn't still slowed down since.
Yeah, that Dynamortar ability lets you get another electric energy out of your discard pile every single turn. It's very similar to the Dark Patch ability that we've seen in all those Darkrai decks, but you can use it every turn without playing an extra card. So it's a weak 90 HP Pokemon, so it's always in danger sitting on the bench there to those Pokemon catchers, but the risk is worth the reward.
Exactly. Now you do absolutely want to get as many Dynamos into play if you're Clement as fast as possible, meaning turn 1. So Clement's ideal turn 1 includes something like 3 Dynamos in his bench, and just maybe passing with the Tropical Beach in play and raising his hand up to 7.
Well, he's gotten 2 Dynamo on the bench already, as well as a Raikou EX. He's got 2 energy on his Rayquaza, and he plays a Colress for 4. Not the most you're going to get out of a Colress, but still gets some hand refresh and lets them search for a few more cards.
Yeah. Now, one thing I do want to mention about this matchup is that it is fairly close. Both of these decks have a very similar win percentage against each other. But what puts Plasma over the top sometimes is their non-EX attacker's ability to deal so much damage. Blizzard Burn can deal 120 damage off of Kyurem, plus Deoxys EX's ability, and Hypnotoxic Laser, etc. But you also have an Absol. The Absol can deal up to 120 damage with only 2 energies, which really means the world. Right.
That Mind Jack attack, if we can take a look at Absol, since we're going to have so many electric on the bench as possible for Clement, that Mind Jack attack is always going to be running at a high level.
Exactly. Now, Clement was, I don't want to say forced to recreate as Rayquaza, but he chose to recreate as Rayquaza and activate a Raikou EX because he feels like the Raikou is more expendable. And if it does come down to him taking 90 damage or something similar to that, then he wants it to be on the Raikou and not the Rayquaza.
Right, so over here we've got Kaiwen playing a ton of cards. He's Junipered out, got a Colress machine. He's got a Kyurem with 2 energy on it already. So he's moving right along.
Yeah, that Colress machine really is the engine that makes this plasma deck run. If it weren't for the Colress machine and the plasma energy that combined with it, you wouldn't really see the plasma deck do as well as it does. And it has been just dominating pretty much every tournament since these cards came out, and for good reason. I mean, energy acceleration is incredible, but energy acceleration as early as turn 1, that's what really shines.
Right. So he even finds that Absol, but ends up bringing up the Kyurem to do an early attack, hits the Frost Spear, puts some damage on that bench Rayquaza EX.
Exactly. Now, the Raikou EX was the one that took a little bit more heavy damage because of the Deoxys EX's ability, but either way, that's still fine. The Float Stones attached to the Raikou EX also just means that he's going to be able to retreat for free pretty much whenever he'd like, and it should let him get a consistent Dragon Burst off from turn to turn.
Right. He's running 4 Floatstone in his deck, so he has a bunch of Floatstones that he can move around to keep his Pokemon moving as much as he needs to, almost as if he was playing Darkrai and had that Dark Cloak everywhere.
Yeah, now the Rayquaza Electric deck is a very standard list. I don't see too many surprises coming out of the Rayquaza Electric deck because honestly, once you start let me see what's the right word. Once you start building this Rayquaza Electric deck, you're going to have so many slots taken up by your 4 Dynamo, your 4 Electrics, and your Pokemon line is just pretty much already frozen in place.
Right.
So you don't have very much room for maneuvering, but you do see a dowsing machine coming out of Clement, which I feel is pretty nice.
Right. Let's take a look at Dowsing Machine. It's the first ace spec we've had on the main stage that isn't computer search. Dowsing Machine lets you get any card out of your discard pile. It's kind of like the opposite of computer search.
Yeah, it would be a trainer card, but absolutely any trainer card out of your discard pile. So that is incredibly strong when it comes down to maybe needing another supporter, maybe needing something like Super Rod sometimes. You might need them. Even something like a Tropical Beach if necessary. So it's very versatile, but it is limited to only trainer cards.
Looks like we have a Tropical Beach in play, so both players will be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, now obviously the Rayquaza Electric wants to, and if Kaiwen is ever forced to take advantage of the Tropical Beach, he's not going to be very happy because he always wants to be dealing damage.
Exactly. Now, one interesting thing, he is using that Tropical Beach. Oh no, he's not using Tropical Beach at this point. But just like we saw in the last game, both players were using Tropical Beach. This time, we're using Burbank City Gym. Here, one player's using Tropical Beach, the other's using Burbank City Gym. So that way we're actually going to have that fight for that stadium position back and forth between the two decks.
Now, I don't know if you caught this or not, but there was a Pokemon catcher played onto Clement's field, which actually activated this Rayquaza, which already had 30 damage on it. Now, Blizzard Burn normally deals 120, but with 2 Deoxys in play, that deals 140, which just happens to be enough to knock out a Rayquaza EX.
Exactly. That fully built up Rayquaza EX isn't going to be on this board for long, so that's going to be a loss of one of those fire energy, which you can't get back with Electric, but also with 2 prizes and a Pokemon and a Floatstone down. That's going to be a big impact on this game pretty early.
Luckily for Clement, he does play 4 fire energies, which is quite a bit more. Well, not quite a bit more, but it is 1 more than most lists play. So that 4th fire will come in handy in case he's, well, there it is. It did come in handy.
Right.
So now, if I'm Kaiwen, by the way, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get rid of these Electrics as fast as possible. If you lower your opponent's ability to Dynamotor, over the course of the game, it's going to matter quite a bit more than say something like taking 2 prizes off of a Rayquaza or 2 prizes off of a Raikou. If I'm Kaiwen, I'm focusing these Electrics as much as I possibly can.
Well, and it's kind of 2 different ways that he could go about it. Given that he did get a Rayquaza EX out early, if he can keep up that kind of momentum on the attackers, he actually gets to take those prizes twice as fast and might be able to race for the end game before the Dynamotors can actually impact it back on the other side. But if he's going for the long game, shutting down those Dynamotors will ensure that he has the upper hand once we get down there.
Absolutely, yeah. There's definitely multiple ways to play the game, and that's the beauty of the game as well. The options that are presented to you pretty much on every given turn, and some options might lead to down different paths, and it's going to be interesting to see which option he decides to take and what path it leads him to.
Right, Clement is going to get a Keldeo so he can have even more active position control with his retreats, and now he's got Rush In.
Yeah, the Russian ability is obviously very nice. It lets you survive Hypnotoxic Laser in case you fall asleep, but I don't believe Clement actually plays the laser.
Let's take a look at Keldeo EX, that card that has also been played just in decks almost at random sometimes, because it's so versatile you can just throw it in there and have it help you with your active positions issues.
Now, one thing that is also really nice that the Keldeo EX can do is obviously once it rushes in, it no longer stops it no longer stops Kaiwen's Kyurem from attacking, because Blizzard Burn no longer lets you attack on your following turn.
Right.
Once the Kyurem goes to the bench, it kind of forgets the fact that it can't attack.
Right. Effects of attacks clear on all Pokemon when they go to the bench.
Yeah. Now, I really like this third Dynamo on Clement's side of the field. If he can get a third Electric, I'm going to really like his position in this game.
Even though he was behind early, now all of a sudden he's got kind of a driver's position.
Yeah, well, he is currently still behind on prizes. There's no doubt about that. But once you get the 30 Electric in play, it really pays dividends towards the end of the game. Say when your opponent ends you down to a very low hand size or anything like that, you no longer have to worry about having a very large hand for the most part.
Another catcher coming out from Kaiwen, bringing that Rayquaza EX up front. Looks like he's going for the big punch out, trying to take care of the game early.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what he draws and if it'll affect this game state. Now, see that Absol really does threaten quite a bit. A Burbank City Gym comes into play, removes the Tropical Beach from play, and the
gets the sleep.
Yeah, the Hypnotoxic Laser does put the Rayquaza EX to sleep, but it also deals 30 damage.
Right.
Instead of 10 between turns. That Russian ability does come into play, and now the Kyurem EX becomes active one more time, and hey, look, brand new memory. It has Alzheimer's right there.
Right. Looks like it's going to be that Kaiwen is really focusing on those big attackers, not giving them a chance to get one set up and have any kind of impact on this game. Now, Clement is able to recover quickly with those Dynamotors, but unfortunately he isn't, since it only goes on to bench Pokemon, he can't even power up that Raikou right now. He could rush in. Yeah,
I really wanted to see a Super Rod out of Clement here, because with two Rayquaza EXs in the discard pile, you have to hope to hit your last one from your deck.
Right.
That's not always easy.
So he goes with the Super Rod.
Yeah, Super Rodding the other two back in is really important here.
Right.
Now remember, even though Clement is behind by 4 prizes, the game is not over. You can end your opponent down to a very small hand size, and if you can knock out this Kyurem EX, I apologize, this Kyurem, for example, now your opponent's at least going to have some sort of a difficulty getting his last couple of prizes.
Right. He does not have I don't see, is that last card? He doesn't have a Thunder CX on the board. Oh, he does, but no energy on it. So he would lose quite a bit of resources when that Kyurem goes down.
Exactly.
And even if he does have energy for that Thunder CX, it's still only going to be 1 a turn as opposed to the 3 a turn that Dynamotor can pull out.
Exactly. Now that's why I do like that Absol. That Absol really lets you attack past these pesky ends and whatnot, because it's much easier to power up an Absol than it is to power up, say, something like a Kyurem or a Kyurem.
Let's bring Absol up again to look at that Mind Jack.
I am super interested to see what kind of a supporter gets played here.
Yeah, that Mind Jack attack only costs 2 energy, which for the damaging attacks in the deck is the cheapest one.
Yeah, it deals 20 damage plus an additional 20 damage for each benched Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field, which tends to be very nice against an electric deck, which needs to have these electrics on its bench to be able to actually work. So Absol is a great choice here against this matchup. I don't believe I like Clement's options here. Clement is probably going to rush in and pass. I don't know. That can't happen. Honestly, I'm not really sure what Clement's options are here, but they're not very good.
Right. Rush in, he can maybe power up that Raikou EX with all the Dynamotors, but he's just going to pass.
Yeah, he rushed in and passed, which is not ideal. That's a Hypnotoxic Laser.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is. That's
and he just
went
for the 3 big attacks. Didn't mess with the Dynamotors because he knew that he was going to be able to take out all of those big Pokemon for the 2 prizes real quick over the fast game.
Yeah, now you see how how Kyurem only deals 120 damage, but after you calculate the Hypnotoxic Lasers, you calculate the Deoxys EX, it just deals an unreal amount of damage out of the blue.
Right. So Kaiwen going for just the real knockout punch there, not wasting time with the supporting Pokemon, going after those electrics, keeping the Dynamotors in play, and just punishing the Pokemon that actually can attack.
Yeah. I really hate when an opponent, or not when an opponent, but when a player plays the Plasma deck and it forces me to do math on the spot. I'm just sitting there going, well, I think it's going to be a knockout. I'm not really sure. And this time it was a knockout. So congratulations to Kaiwen. He does take game 1 here with a well-timed Hypnotoxic Laser spree. And that's 6 prizes by only knocking out 3 Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And that's EX Pokemon are incredibly strong. They do have that big drawback, and that's why having your main attacker in the plasma deck be that Kyurem, even when you have to trade prizes, you're trading it at a discount, you end up coming out ahead on that exchange.
Exactly. So now that the plasma deck is ahead by 1 game, I fully expect it to do well in a timed series where, say, the Rayquaza Electric deck, say it wins an extended game 2, a really long game 2. When it comes down to game 3, I don't know, the edge has to be going towards the plasma deck, which just comes out of the gate on turn 1, you know?
Right. Rayquaza even had a quick start in that last match. Didn't help it that much because Plasma was able to go even quicker.
Yeah, so Clement's back is definitely against the wall, but when you have Rayquaza EX dealing an unreal amount of damage pretty much turn after turn, anything can really happen. But I do want to see a really fast start from Clement this following game.
Right. He even had the 2 Dynamo at the beginning there, and everything seemed to be going his way, but then Plasma just had a ridiculous turn.
Yeah, now I talked a lot about Clement's list and how it's very standard and it doesn't really have any surprises. And while that is true, I look at Kaiwen's list and I have to kind of say the same thing. I do see 1 Max Potion in Kaiwen's list, which happens to be pretty dead when your opponent just one hit KOs you anyways. So that's one thing that I can say that's in Clement's favor. But aside from that, I'm just looking at a very strong, very consistent list. So I expect to see Kaiwen do very similarly to what he did against Clement here, and just I expect to see the same attacks, the same type of speed.
Right.
And I don't expect him to fumble.
Well, it's interesting. Like Clement might not have been prepared for that strategy that Kaiwen's taking. As you're saying, the standard strategy is to go for those Dynamotors and take out those electrics. So maybe this time he'll be playing slightly differently, knowing that Kaiwen may be targeting the big attacker EX cards.
Yeah, the big difference was that Clement never really got going. Clement never really threatened the Kyurem to knock it out and force Kaiwen to attach energies more faster and more consistently. So Kaiwen kind of had the option to do whatever he liked as often as he liked. I don't expect that to happen this game. I expect for Clement to really come out of the gates, or I hope at least for Clement to come out of the gates and show us a really good game here. So there is a handshake, and that means that they're about to start game 2.
Not a great start for either of those guys. Those are not really the Pokemon that you want to help get your deck going at the beginning.
Yeah, even though Kyurem isn't, Kyurem does have a 2 energy attack to begin with. I do personally like to be able to have the option, as long as I have something like a Colress machine. But I do agree that something like Thundurus EX would be probably a little bit better. Now, on the other side of the field, though, seeing a Keldeo, I'm pretty sure that's not the ideal starter. It's not the worst either, seeing as how he does play 4 Floatstones.
Right. The Floatstone is really what he's got to be looking for here right away.
So he's searching his deck. He takes an extended amount of time just because he does have quite a few options, and he wants to see exactly which Pokemon are prized, maybe if his Ace Spec is prized, or if some of his Fire Energies are prized. These things truly matter throughout the course of the game.
Right.
And they might not seem all that important to newer players, but they really are.
You need to know which of your options you have and which you don't have can be even more important sometimes.
Exactly, and that's really what it comes down to. Sometimes if you have 2 Tynamo prized, your Dynamos now become that much more important, and you have to guard them, sometimes with your life.
Right. So he does go for the Dynamo, and then he's going to Juniper away a big pile of cards there.
Yeah, he does Juniper away his second Keldeo EX, which is good. I would have never liked to see 2 Keldeo EX in play against this matchup. Now that Juniper, I hope it nets him a couple of more Dynamos, or at least 1 more. I see an Ultra Ball, maybe even 2 Ultra Balls. If he does have a Tropical Beach here, that would be a very strong turn. But he doesn't. He does have a Floatstone though, which is pretty nice.
Yeah. That Floatstone will make sure that Keldeo can constantly control who's in the active position.
Now, did you see any supporters in his hand?
I did not early on, so this may be unless his opponent decides to play N.
Yeah, now, using that Ultra Ball and reducing your hand size, it does tell your opponent that you have fewer odds of having a supporter in your hand. But honestly, if I'm Kaiwen and the opportunity arises for me to maybe end myself into something like a Colress machine, I'm going to take it. So
right.
I wouldn't be surprised if I see Kaiwen play an N here. And he does have an N, so he's considering it. Colress
this time he
first.
does catch her up a Dynamo.
Yeah, he does catch her up a Dynamo, and he plays a Colress machine. If he gets the Frost Spear here, he's going to knock out this Dynamo and maybe put 30 damage on the bench one, which means that the Electric would be 2 Frost Spears away from getting knocked out. This is big. This is really, really big.
Yeah. So searching his deck, doing the same thing as Clement. He's checking which of his cards he has available and which he does not have available.
Yeah, but he does have that Plasma Energy available, which is exactly what he was searching through. Now, the fact that he didn't shuffle his deck told me that he was going to play that in, which really, really saves Clement.
Right.
If I'm Clement, I just take a big gold period. I'm like, all right, here we go. Time to play this game. But But let's see if losing this Dynamo is really going to affect him. He does still need to have either a, let's see, he does play 4 Blend Energy and 4 Prism Energy, so he's got 8 shots at being able to attack her. 3, 4 cards, 5 cards, and the 6th card is not an energy. He will not be able to attack here. The Dynamo is safe.
That is really big. That Clement has got to be breathing a big sigh of relief there, especially since he's got that Keldeo. He can reset that Dynamo back to the bench and kind of waste that catcher.
Yeah, now the Hypnotoxic Laser, it's nice. It does put the Dynamo to sleep, but we do have a Keldeo with Russian here, so that's not going to be all that important. But
although interestingly, now that he gets the 1 damage counter on it, that one can be hit on the bench from Frost Spear to be knocked out.
Correct. Now it's all up to Clement to be able to evolve that Pokemon this following turn. If not, I do not expect it to see another turn after this. So
puts a fire on his Rayquaza.
Yeah, if I'm Kaiwen, I'm super disappointed to have had to pass here, but these things do happen, and he will definitely not forget to rush it. I'm positive of that. He's playing I believe, another Floatstone onto this Rayquaza now, and the Tropical Beach goes down, so maybe a Juniper. Yeah, Juniper here, and draws a new hand to 7, gets a Lightning Energy in his discard pile for future Dynamotors. I do see an Electric in his hand, which means that he's going to evolve that Dynamo that's hurt, and he's going to Dynamotor onto the Rayquaza that they're rushing, or something similar.
Exactly.
Oh, there's also a Level Ball in his hand, which means he could potentially get 2 Dynamotors in on that and knock out this Kyurem. This is big.
Yeah, Clement has certainly turned this game around, and it almost looks like it was completely due to Kaiwen's end.
Yeah, it was definitely due to Kaiwen's end, but it was also really due to Kaiwen's inability to get the knockout.
Yeah, Kaiwen's end kind of betrayed him there. Let's take a look at N. Since it impacts both players, it impacted Kaiwen not that great, and Clement got a great draw off of that N.
Yeah, so 2 Dynamotors. That gives him the ability to deal 180 damage. I wouldn't be surprised if he just knocks out this Kyurem, knowing that his opponent has no energy in his hand. And from this point on, I do expect to see Clement's deck just do what it wants to do.
Exactly. Rayquaza's got a big advantage. Oh, he does draw the energy, so
1 turn late, but yeah, he does draw an energy card. So that's got to sting even more, just seeing that energy come off the top of your deck.
Exactly. He was a card away from being able to have a huge turn, and instead now he doesn't have much on the board at all.
Yeah. So now with that Raiden Knuckle, he will be able to actually attach the Plasma Energy that was discarded the last turn. So he's not going to be too far behind on energy, except for the fact that Dynamotor exists.
Right.
So an N here does draw him quite a few energy cards, which has to sting even more. A Plasma Ball as well, and that Max Potion, which I just mentioned how it's so ineffective. And this is why your opponent's going to be Dragon Bursting for 180 damage a turn, more than likely.
You'll never have any damage counters on a Pokemon. They'll either be completely fine or in the discard pile.
Exactly. That's exactly why I don't like Max Potion for this matchup, and I'm positive Kaiwen doesn't either.
Yeah, it just ends up being fodder for his Ultra Balls as well as his Computer Search.
Yeah, so Kaiwen's going to have to Raiden Knuckle onto potentially that Absol, even though I'd probably like to see it onto a Kyurem, but we'll wait and see where he searches with this Plasma Ball. Yeah, and it looks like he does move that Kyurem to the top of to the bottom of the deck, and he benches it immediately. So
yeah, that's 2 Plasma Balls this turn, so really getting his field set up. He doesn't have to play against Absol, so building his bench up isn't as much of a threat for him.
No, not at all. And we'll definitely see a Raiden Knuckle here. He needs this energy attachment. He can't afford to say Tropical Beach here, I don't believe, even though his hand does not currently have any supporters. His hand's actually pretty much dead. It's only 3 energy and a Max Potion, I believe.
Right, so he puts that energy onto an Absol, knowing that Clement is going to be having a pretty full bench, so that Absol's going to do quite a bit.
Yeah, that tells me that he wants to deal 100 damage the following turn. Maybe he forces his opponent to not bench a Pokemon. I'm not truly sure. Well, I guess it is 120.
Right.
So it would threaten that Rayquaza EX. Another Floatstone gets attached onto this second Rayquaza. So he is running low on Floatstones. That's something that we have to keep track of.
Right, but he's in good position right now. All of his important Pokemon have the Floatstone. He's got the Rush-In Floatstone combo on Keldeo. And there goes the Thunder CX.
Thunder CX goes down. That's 2 prizes. That actually brings Clement down to 3 prizes against his opponent's full 6. He is definitely in the lead here.
Yeah. Now there could be like a key N that could hit here, and now suddenly N would turn the tables back the other way around if he plays N.
Now Kaiwen either just top decked this Juniper or had it in his hand. I
believe that was top deck.
Wow. So that's big for Kaiwen. Kaiwen was in all sorts of trouble here, and now, I mean, still some trouble, but not so much. Not as much as last turn.
So Clement's going to have to worry a little bit about what's going on with his bench with that Absol active. It's probably got to be his next target.
Now, it's kind of interesting to see how fast-paced these games have been compared to, say, something like the Juniors Finals, which were much slower paced, and that's not to say that the players were slower paced. It's just these decks are so aggressive once they actually get going.
Right. There's not a bunch of, like, pussyfooting around. You're just going to get up there and take stuff out. Yeah. Now, we did see that Mind Jack take out Rayquaza EX, so the fully operational Rayquaza EX is gone. We've got the benched Rayquaza EX, but he's only got 2 Dynamo Motors. Unless he's got a Lightning Energy in his hand, he's not going to be able to have a Dragon Rage big enough. Or is that big enough for Absol?
Yeah, now Mind Jack would have normally dealt 100 damage there because there was 4 Pokemon on Clement's bench, but the ability from the Deoxys EX let him deal at 120, which meant that Rayquaza was just barely knocked out.
Yeah, let's bring up Rayquaza EX so everyone can see that power connectability again.
You mean Deoxys EX?
Yes, Deoxys EX.
Yes, Deoxys EX. So, the 2 electrics are still in play. That means so much to me. That means that we're going to be seeing this consistent Dragon Burst coming out of Clement, and that's why I like to see these electrics get kind of targeted. Even though the Rayquaza is the damage dealer, your opponent will kind of have to deal with him anyways, you know? So you might as well stop your opponent from, stop Clement from being able to really attach as many energies as he wants. But again, that strategy does have its pros and has its cons. Last time, Kaiwen chose to avoid the electrics, and he kind of steamrolled. This game, he chose to avoid the electrics, and he's getting steamrolled.
Well, he tried early on to get those electrics out of there, but it didn't work out. But there goes the KO onto the Absol. Clement only has 2 prizes left, and so any EX knockout will win, but it looks like right now the Kyurem's going to be in charge.
Burbank City Gym does counter the Tropical Beach that's in play, so now any Hypnotoxic Laser will be dealing 30 damage between turns.
Another N, that's going to take Clement way down, so it might slow him down here a little bit.
Yeah, now Clement will go down to a 2-card hand, but you notice how he still has the Keldeo EX in play. The Keldeo EX is going to be able to rush in. Now 2 Dynamo Motors are going to be able to come onto the Rayquaza EX, which means that any type of electric or any type of lightning energy will be able to deal 180 damage by Rayquaza.
Nope, looks like he's got at least 1 supporter in his hand, although I think it was an N.
So I do see a Hypnotoxic Laser here. He could hope for maybe capturing up a Keldeo and putting it to sleep. I'm not sure he's got a catcher or not, though.
Now he's just going to go on Rayquaza, but...
So he puts the Rayquaza to sleep, which is honestly not that important.
Right, when you've got Keldeo, let's bring Keldeo EX up to look at that. When you've got Keldeo with Floatstone, your active Pokemon is pretty much whoever you decide it's going to be.
I see a Tynamo, I see a catcher, and I see a 3rd card, a 3rd unknown card for myself. So
I think it's N.
Okay, well...
oh, that was
Ultra Ball. Okay, yeah, Ultra Ball for the electric. That will give him 3 energies onto his Rayquaza EX, which means that the Kyurem will be knocked out, and he'll go down to 1 prize.
Right, and then Kaiwen does not have much on his board anymore, so I don't know that there's much that he'll be able to do at this point.
Yeah, with no energy in play and only a couple of Deoxys and a Thundurus, this seems very bleak for Kaiwen.
Yeah, and with that Keldeo with the Floatstone, Rayquaza is going to get powered up every single turn.
Exactly. So even though your opponent ends you to a 2-card hand, now a 1-card hand potentially, these things, they don't tend to matter as much when you do have these electrics in play.
Right.
So
he's basically got the game on board, so unless Kaiwen pulls something out this turn.
So of course, we'll fetch him 6 cards, 6 new cards, which is great to see for Kaiwen. It will give him some sort of a maybe attack force. I'm not really sure. There is a computer search, which means he'll be able to see any card in his deck. Finally, a Pokemon catcher to be able to capture up either a Keldeo here.
Yeah, if he can Hypnotoxic Laser, put him to sleep, now he actually can shut down all that retreating. But there's the Tails, and that's going to be the game.
That is it. We are going to a deciding Game 3 between these 2 players.
It's been really exciting. Both of these finals matches have gone to the 3 games, so these players are pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, so like I said, not only are the players evenly matched, but the decks are evenly matched as well. Both of these decks, if the electric deck comes out of the gate strong, it can just start steamrolling from turn 3 on, turn 2 on. If the Kyurems and the Plasma decks start coming out of the gate strong, well, there go the Tynamos, and that's the end of that. So
exactly,
he had that 1-turn window to knock out that Tynamo and really put a lot of pressure on the electric deck, but it didn't happen. He missed the energy, and then we saw what we saw.
Yeah, when Kaiwen played that N, it ended up helping Clement so much, and Kaiwen was just hurt by it. 1 card away from the energy, he needed to take out the Tynamo. That changes the entire game right there, and so it was a little depressing to see Kaiwen's N probably being the source of his own demise that game.
Exactly. So even though Kaiwen and Clement are both going to a deciding Game 3, they have got to be keeping their eyes on the prize. Focus. Do not let the pressure get to you, and just do your best, because you have a really good shot at winning here. Both of them do.
Yeah, and so Kaiwen, coming from Australia, Pokemon has just gotten huge in Australia recently. The trading card game is getting really big there recently. So Kaiwen's really leading the charge out of Australia with his win in the national championships.
Exactly. Now, I have spoken to a few Australian players throughout the weekend, and every last one of them has told me the exact same thing. The game has exploded throughout this last year, and they have doubled, quadrupled, quintupled their players in a very short period of time, and they're starting to get very competitive. So I'm expecting to see big things coming out of Australia in the coming years.
Right. Who knows how many Australians we'll see at Worlds next year?
Hopefully many, and maybe we'll see an Aussie. So, anyways, the plasma deck will be going first. We'll be able to see something as potentially as strong as a Kyurem attack on turn 1, or if not, even something like a Thunderous attack on turn 1 with a Deoxys. It could threaten a turn 1 knockout on a Tynamo to really end the game.
Now that gives a really interesting situation. Given that the Plasma deck will be going first, do you think that Clement will choose not to bench Tynamos he has in his opening hand to try to protect them from Frost Spears?
I think more importantly, what it comes down to is Clement wants to not only start with Tynamo. Like if his only Pokemon in his hand is Tynamo, he's going to be sweating.
Right.
He's going to be sitting there just nervous as can be, because that's the worst possible start against this Plasma deck, which can just come out of the gate so fast.
So it looks like Kaiwen's got both a Thundurus and a Kyurem for his starting cards there. I did not see what Clement had.
But your question does raise a very good concern. Like if I have something like a Keldeo, I do want to probably hold my Tynamos. I am afraid of a Nim potentially, but I'll take that risk if it means that I don't take the risk of getting a Tynamo knocked out on turn 1 before my first turn even begins even.
Right. So another Keldeo start for Clement. He ended up winning that game last game anyway, but still, it's not exactly the card he's looking for.
No, I mean, you're obviously looking for something like a Rayquaza EX or, well, you're definitely not looking for a Tynamo, but you're looking for a Rayquaza EX ideally, but the Keldeo's not the worst. It really isn't. If you tell me that I'm going to be starting Keldeo against Kaiwen, I will take it every time because that means I'm not starting Tynamo.
Yeah. Let's take a look at Thundurus EX. That's probably the card that Kaiwen wants to start with every game.
Yeah, if it does help him power up the other attackers in his deck, as long as he has something that can get some energies into his discard pile, something like a Professor Juniper, which he did not have, Ultra Ball, or even a Computer Search.
Oh, he realized that he had already played a second supporter that turn. So
no, well, I guarantee you that he did not mean to play that Juniper. I would much rather seen a Computer Search here if I'm Kaiwen, obviously.
Right, he gets rid of that Colress, which is a much better late game card, and also an energy to be picked up with the Raiden Knuckle.
Exactly, that's the most important card he could have discarded, and that's exactly why he's probably Computer Searching here, even though it's not all that necessary. That Colress machine, it's nice, it's going to be awesome to get your energy and play faster, but really what you're trying to do is get that energy into the discard pile so the Raiden Knuckle can actually do more than just 30 damage.
Right, so that's going to get Kyurem basically ready to go next turn.
Exactly. Now, if I'm Kaiwen, I don't necessarily need to see more army of Deoxys at my bench this turn. The Keldeo EX is not really a threat, and I can knock it out in one hit anyways with something like a Kyurem further on after dealing 30 damage. So I'm not that concerned about filling my bench up with Deoxys this turn. So I like him searching for a Colress machine here.
Right. So let's see what Clement ended up getting off of that N. See an N of his own.
Yeah, there is an Ultra Ball here, which is going to definitely fetch out a Tynamo here.
Right, needs to get that started up.
He didn't search his deck to see what was prized here. I don't know if that means that his nerves are getting to him or he's just pretty confident.
Or maybe he may have another search card in there.
That's potentially true as well. So we'll have to wait and see what else Clement can do. A single Tynamo is not going to do it here. He wants multiples.
And he really needs a Float Stone. Well, he's just going to end.
Yeah, he's going to end here and wants to see a couple of Tynamos, maybe a Float Stone, but the Tynamos are the important thing. I know I sound like a broken record, right?
Right. Well, Tynamo it's the most important thing in this deck to maintain that engine.
Yeah, absolutely. So excited to see these following 6 cards. Shuffling is a very important part of this game, and we see it quite a bit. We see players shuffle their decks multiple times throughout the game, and I understand that to a newer player or somebody that doesn't really play the card game all that much, they might be wondering like, why is this taking so long, or why is there so much downtime? But that's what really keeps the games fun and fair, and And I don't mind seeing as much shuffling as we do in these games.
So there's a level ball and a float stone, 2 cards he was probably really trying to get.
Exactly. So I am now feeling much more confident for Clement here.
So he's got 2 Dynamos out there, but no electrics yet. Although both those Dynamos came out this turn, so he can't have any electrics yet.
Well, I'm happy he doesn't have any electrics in play right now because we'd have quite a few problems on our hands. This is actually his first turn. I know it's taken a while.
Wow.
Yeah, I know it's taking a while.
Both of these turns have been pretty extensive. A 3rd Dynamo on the board, that's pretty good.
Yeah, this 3rd Dynamo is exactly what I personally wanted to see here. 2 Dynamos is fine, but if you get 1 sniped and knocked out, then you're not feeling too hot. If you have 3 Dynamos, you can afford to have that happen to you and still keep 2 in play. So
speaking of the snipe, he went for the Skyless Strape for that golden Pokemon catcher.
Yeah, that golden Pokemon catcher does activate one of the 3 Dynamos on the bench, and that's again what Kaiwen was trying to do, and that's exactly why that 3rd Dynamo coming onto the bench was so important.
Drops the Deoxys to ensure he's got enough damage off of the Raiden Knuckle.
Yeah, Deoxys' power connectability is just so strong against this type of deck. It really does matter.
You have so many things that deal 30 damage and so many opposing Pokemon with 40 hit points. Let's take a look at Deoxys EX so you can just see how strong that power connectability is in this Plasma deck.
What I tend to like about Deoxys EX is its Helix Force attack. Oh yeah, we might see a Thunder Wave here. I'll talk later. Oh, there's a heads on that Thunder Wave. That the Thundurus is asleep or is paralyzed, and it being paralyzed means quite a bit. There's usually no Keldeo. Oh, there's only 1 Keldeo in Kaiwen's deck, so we might actually see just a flat out. Oh, there's a switch.
Yeah,
okay,
he does have the 1
Skylar
switch.
with the switch is going to allow him to continue to attack. Very important, very big. Now that the Dynamo's going to go down, and Kaiwen is all of a sudden going to be taking a big lead here.
Right, he went from having a bunch of Dynamo on the opposing side to suddenly there's only going to be 1 left.
Yeah, his hand was just dead. Poor Clement. He didn't really have any options. He just kind of activated a Dynamo and said, oh, this is the best I got, man.
Yep. He's going to Juniper.
Okay, well, there's a Juniper, and he does discard the Raikou EX, a Keldeo, and maybe a Switch or something. I'm not really sure. But the Juniper does give him a new Breath of Life. He has 7 cards in his hand, now 6 after evolving his Dynamo to an Electric, making it that much more difficult to get knocked out.
He is playing a 4/4 Dynamo Electric line, so he doesn't need to Super Rod right now, but the Super Rod is really going to help him try to get some stuff back.
Yeah, I would like to see a Super Rod, though, because there's 2 Dynamos in his discard pile.
Right.
And if he can get something like 2 more Dynamos in play, or even potentially 3, then what's he doing?
Nope.
Dowsing Machine doesn't work that way.
He must have been listening to me earlier when I misspoke.
Yeah, potentially. So I do want to see a Super Rod here. Maybe even if he goes for the level ball, that means that he doesn't have any other way to search out Pokemon. So he's looking for his last Dynamo in his deck. Hopefully it's not prized. I know he didn't search through his deck for prizes earlier. So there it is. There's that Dynamo. It's not prized. All 4 Dynamos have now seen play.
Right. So that means until he plays a Super Rod, he can't get any more Dynamo or Electric onto his bench.
Exactly. So it's just looking pretty bleak here. He only has 1 Electric in play. If this Dynamo gets knocked out, that's going to be 3 Dynamos in the discard pile. Without very many options, with your opponent starting to deal 40 damage a minimum a turn, and having a Kyurem in play that has it has 2 energies currently. A 3rd energy can come down at any time. It's looking, honestly, it's looking very bleak here.
Yeah. It's kind of a rough board situation for Clement that he also really doesn't have any of his main attackers yet. Yeah,
I mean, the main attackers don't really deal damage anyways, so currently at all, currently at least. But you would like to see these attackers, that way you don't have to worry about it later on.
Kaiwen's got another strong play here, dropped in the Absol, got another Chorus Machine to get another Plasma Energy.
Yeah, the Absol doesn't deal all that much damage currently because there's only 2 bench Pokemon on Clement's field, but that means that if Clement ever does actually start massing up some sort of an attack force, that implies that Absol is going to get that much stronger.
Another Ultra Ball going for another Deoxys EX.
Yeah, I would have probably liked to see the Raikou EX get benched here, because even though Raikou EX only deals 100 damage and it's not all that effective against most of the Plasma deck, it is very effective against the Absol. So that's not a technique that should be taken lightly.
So Hypnotoxic Laser, but no sleep on the flip?
No sleep, but he does Juniper here, and he finds a 3rd energy for the Kyurem. The Kyurem will be able to deal 130 damage plus the laser, which deals 10 more.
Yeah, there's no Verbank at this point.
Yeah, it's still going to be enough, though.
Yep, knockout on that Keldeo.
I'm wiping my brow because I wasn't sure if it was going to be enough or not. I'm just kidding. So the Dynamo does come up again. He's going to be able to evolve it to an Electric, but with only an Electric and maybe an N here, he's got to find quite a few cards.
Now the N does give him a slight advantage, given that he hasn't taken any prizes and Kaiwen's taken so many. He's going to have way more cards than Kaiwen, and Kaiwen, I don't believe, has a way to bench and bring back that Kyurem. So he can't use the big attack on that Pokemon this turn.
Yeah, now, not only that, but the one Keldeo got knocked out, and then he also Junipered away a Keldeo and a Raikou EX. So he's actually running really low on Pokemon that matter. He's only got the Rayquazas that matter from here on out, I believe, unless he super odds it back in.
Oh, he drew another Pokemon, a lesser seen one. He's got a Victini in his deck.
Yeah, the Victini is for very specific matchups. This one is not that
Correct.
matchup. So again, like Pokemon that matter, they're just gone, and I need to see a Rayquaza here off of him.
Now, speak briefly about what the Victini is in there for.
The Victini is in there for the Kling Kling matchup, which is not here. He doesn't have to worry too much about that right now. But that is honestly the main reason to play this, because otherwise you just really lose that deck.
Right.
With the Victini, you actually become a favorite. So I believe, did he Ultra Ball currently?
I think that's what happened, yeah.
Yeah, I was busy talking about Victini, but if he did Ultra Ball, then I want to see some Rayquazas. I'm not really sure what's going on. If he's choosing not to find something, maybe the Rayquazas are prized. I don't know. So he does Tropical Beach and end his turn that way. He sees nothing but energies and I believe a chorus. Bianca for something like 4 cards, 5 cards.
Gets the Verbank to power up his future lasers.
Yeah, and it also gets rid of the Tropical Beach, which slows down Clement considerably. So 2 prizes left. It's looking like Clement's going to have to do something very fast to be able to do anything this game. So down goes 1 electric. He's got 1 prize to go. Only an electric on his side of the field. Will we see a handshake?
I think so. Clement's going to have to. I can't imagine what Clement could possibly do here.
Nope. He's a trooper. He's playing it out. He attaches a float stone onto his active electric, which will let it retreat for free.
I think he's got another end in his hand, so he could, if he wants to, he can take Kaiwen down to a single card.
Yeah, I did see an Ultra Ball also top decked here, so he'll be able to get a Rayquaza EX into play, assuming that there isn't one, that they aren't all prize, which would be terrible. It would also be funny to see a Victini attack. But I don't even think he has enough Pokemon left in his deck to be able to have the Victini attack.
Right, Victini needs a full bench to be able to use that attack.
So there is a Rayquaza in play, in play now. It was in the deck, so he'll be able to get 1 Lightning Energy onto it, which means Dragon Burst for 60. So if we can get the Rayquaza EX on the screen, maybe to update on Clement's potential attacks that he might be able to do, we might see a Celestial Roar. Who knows? Who knows what Clement's thinking for the sake of coming back here. This would be an incredible comeback, I'll tell you that much, if he does happen to pull it off.
Yeah, down 6-1, really no board position to speak of.
I guarantee Kaiwen is just feeling so happy right now. He's just waiting for Clement to end his turn and really kind of seal it for himself here.
Right.
He did Chorus for 6, which means that there was no end, which means that Kaiwen's hand will be his own for the rest of this game.
Right. Clement looks through his hand.
Tropical Beach counters the Verbank City Gym. He retreats, and he'll probably be Dragon Bursting for 60. Or he could Roar.
Yeah, let's take a look at Rayquaza EX, because it does have that Celestial Roar, which allows it, but no, he's going for a smaller Dragon Burst.
Yeah, he's dealing 60 damage. Kaiwen does seem excited, but maybe not. Maybe he doesn't have the game totally on hand. There it is.
Oh, there's
Pokemon
a
catcher. He's going to be able to rush in if he has some sort of a Double Colorless or a Float Stone. There's a Hypnotoxic Laser, Tails. He's searching.
He's looking for a gym, I'm guessing.
Yeah, a gym would definitely seal the deal here.
Yeah, that electric is poison.
The Mind Jack currently only deals something like 40, 50 damage if he has a 1 Deoxys in play. It's not over. It's not over yet, that's for sure.
Playing that Colorless Machine, finding no more Plasma Energy, though.
Yeah, he really needed either a Switch or a Float Stone to seal the deal here, and he didn't have it. He does have 2 Deoxys in play, which means that the Mind Jack does 60 damage. He's retreating for a Thunderous, and he's going to deal 50 damage with Raiden Knuckle.
Because of those Power Connects.
Correct, because of Power Connect from Deoxys. So the game is not over. I really expected the game to be over here, but Clement does have a fighting chance.
Yes, he's.
And now you're actually going to need to see another catcher from Kaiwen's side of the field, unless he Frost Spears for the knockout. So we want to see the Keldeo, the Kyurem actually get knocked out here. That way he doesn't have the Frost Spear option. N here.
There's the big N.
Yeah, ends his opponent down to 1, but remember, he still has everything he needs here. He needs his opponent to, Clement needs the Pokemon catcher onto the Kyurem.
Right.
The Frost Spear will knock out the final electric. I do not see any max potions on Clement's side, onto Clement's deck either, so that is not an out. Do we see a Pokemon catcher? There is no Pokemon catcher.
No catcher. He's already played a supporter, but at least he's got a Skyla, but it doesn't look like it's going to do much.
He's going to retreat Dragon Burst, and then Frost Spear should end this game.
So put some damage onto Thundurus.
Kaiwen is very excited. He attaches. He might not see the play.
Sometimes you can get so caught up in the game that you miss that you've got the win on board like this.
Or maybe I'm missing something. I'm not really sure, but I don't believe so.
Well, let's bring up Electric real quick and look at the HP on that Pokemon. It would seem that
it is 90 HP on the
exactly.
On the
so
now,
all the
Kyurem is really what I want to see.
Right.
The Kyurem is what that's the attack that truly matters. He has a 1-card hand.
Wow, he
tropical beaches.
See it.
He tropical beaches. He did not see the attack. He gets one more turn. Clement has one more turn.
If Clement pulls this out.
Man, I hope I'm not wrong here.
Wow, that was incredible. No, clearly the reaction from the crowd tells us that we all knew what was going on there.
Unbelievable. I thought once he actually ride knuckled onto the.
Oh, and there's the catcher.
He catches. He does catch the Kyurem. The Kyurem is no longer going to be in play.
What a play here.
Oh my goodness! And gets his opponent down to a 1-card hand.
Oh my
He has
gosh.
a 1-card hand. He has no Kyurem in play. This could be the beginning of the greatest comeback in the history of this game.
Wow, a big misplay by Kaiwen there, and then Clement gets exactly the card he needs to take advantage of it.
Now, I know that Kaiwen has to be seeing the Frost Spear now once the Kyurem became active.
Exactly.
He's got to be wondering, why would you activate this? Oh, no. So that is what happened, and he has a 1-card hand. It's a single N, which is only going to get you a new 1-card hand.
But a full 6 for Clement.
Yeah, Kaiwen's next turn is likely just going to be a Tropical Beach, which means that if he has another Pokemon catcher, Clement does, then this game honestly could be just completely turned around. This was an unfortunate blunder. Now, a Dynamotor will go onto the Rayquaza on the bench, and that's going to allow him to have a secondary attacker once the Dragon Burst is gone. Even though Clement did get this new Breath of Life, he still has only 1 Electric in play.
Right, and his opponent only has 1 prize card left. Any attack that he can pull off that'll knock out a Pokemon, he's basically Kaiwen is still a catcher away from winning, basically, at any time.
Yeah, 1 Pokemon catcher, 1 Frost Spear. Even if your opponent just can't knock you out because you can only get one Dynamotor at a time, Clement, make no mistake about it, he is still with his back behind.
Yeah, Clement still hasn't found it. I think he's only got the 1. Oh, he has 2 Super Rods. Still hasn't found it.
So,
oh,
wow!
Did he not have enough damage to knock out Kyurem?
I thought he did. I thought he had 2 energy on it.
And Kaiwen is still not. No, there he's finally got it. He's finally realized that he had the, game the whole time.
That is it. He only had 1 energy on it. The Frost Spear did end up happening 1 turn late, but it happened, and that is it. Kaiwen Cabbage is your world champion for the senior division.
All right. What a great game. Kind of a misplay. He ended up recovering from it.
Yeah, even though he might not have seen it earlier, the moment that the Pokemon catcher happened, I guarantee you it clicked.
Made sense to him.
Yeah, once it clicked, that was it.
All right, another great game, going to 3 games again. Every single finals match we've had so far has been big like that.
Yeah, this third game really looked like it was not going to be exciting. It looked like it was going to be very one-sided, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the misplay really potentially turned the tables, but
right,
it still happened, though, and Kaiwen did recover, and he is our champion.
Yep, still a great play by Clement, too. Like, second place coming out of France, coming over here to Vancouver. Just a great play from both of our players, and he never gave up, and you can see why not giving up sometimes can be the best. So we're going to kick it off to a break, get an interview with the winner, and we'll be back real soon.
Thank you guys very much. Hi guys, I am Josue Crims-Rojano here with the world champion in the senior division, Kaiwen Cabbage. How's it going, Kaiwen?
Feels really good.
Yeah, oh my goodness. You are actually the undefeated world champion. I just actually found out about that, so that's an even greater congratulations. These things do not happen often, and for you to just not see a single loss throughout the entire weekend has got to be surreal.
Yes, it is.
So, Kaiwen, I do want to ask you a couple of questions, and then let you go congratulate or celebrate with your friends and family. But the first question I actually have for you is about Australia. And I heard a lot of things about Australia just recently really exploding in popularity, and I wanted to get your view on it. How do you feel the Australian players are doing? How do you feel like, say for example, how do you feel like the scene is growing?
Well, the Pokemon scene in Australia is growing rapidly. I mean, last year in 2012 Nationals, I believe we had half the players that we had at 2013 Nationals.
Wow.
So I believe it's because of the fact that we only need 200 points to qualify for Worlds, and that's a lot lower than what was expected. So a lot of players want to get that invite. So that's what probably made a lot of players want to start playing the game.
Okay.
Also because, 2011, Christopher Khan actually won the World Championship, so that also brought some people through the game as well.
That's incredible. The Australians are really starting to become a force in our beloved game. And I kind of want to know what place you got in your Australian Nationals.
I won it.
So you won Australian Nationals.
Yes.
Then you go undefeated in the World Championships. How many years do you have left in the senior division?
This is my last year in the senior division. So
now
next year I'm in the big leagues.
So next year you're in the Masters division, and you're going to be playing against players such as Jason Klasinski, who will be in our next match. So you are definitely going to be moving on to different players and a different player base. Do you feel comfortable with that? Do you feel like you're ready?
Yeah, I do, but I mean, obviously it's going to be a lot harder with all the great players in the world. But
you realize you're one of the great players in the world now, right, Mr.
Yeah,
Mr. Undefeated World Champion here.
But look, I'll take the challenge, and I really love playing the game. It's definitely one of the funnest things in my life, and even playing with the big leagues, I'm still going to have fun.
Now, I do have one final question for you, and that's you did not attack with the Frost Spear to knock out the electric on the second to last turn of the game. I want to know when you realized that you made this mistake and when you said, okay, I'm not making this mistake again, I'm going to win.
All right, so I thought I had to draw a catcher to win the game because I had three. I have one left in my deck. So I honestly thought, all right, so I was in the mindset that I used Blizzard Burn because I was considering Blizzard Burning the Thunderous EX for 140. So it kind of meant if he sent that up again and knocked something out, I could kill it with my own Thunderous EX. What happened was I was in that mindset that I used Blizzard Burn, but I actually used Tropical Beach. Then I realized, when I played N, I was like, wait a second, he catched me out. I'm not Blizzard Burning anymore. All right, I'm going to kill you. And then, I Frost Speared and I knocked out the eel for win.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah.
So, congratulations one more time, man. That's. I'm glad you caught that misplay. And I'm sure. I'm glad you corrected it because you definitely deserve this win. You played incredibly well, and don't let that misplay fool you. You are an incredible player.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for not only attending the World Championships, but actually winning them. So I'm looking forward to seeing you next year.
All right, I look forward to it as well.
Now, we will be taking a break before the final match in the World Championships happens, and that's going to be the Masters Division final match. That's going to include Jason Klasinski and Simon Nerode, both American players. So I'm sure you guys are all excited. I'm excited. I'll see you guys pretty soon.